Hope you're all doing good. I'm doing a little cleaning. Throw your comments in. If you're starting out, had a good day, bad day, good day, bad day, all that good stuff. Don't forget to hit like button. It's all good stuff. I'm just saying hi. Probably stay on long because the battery's eventually going to die in the phone, and I'm kind of ready for hours. So, but I just thought I'd say hello. Hello. Why I'm cleaning up. It's still late. When you're in the garage door business, you late. At least I always did. At least to try to get ahead. I'm back. Gotta work to make up the other stuff. I think honestly I think the U-Haul worked out really good. Reason being is I look at it like I didn't have to contaminate somebody else's vehicle, if that makes sense. If you got employees, service vehicles, I brought this one for good luck. This big old pry bar just in case. Didn't need it though, but I forgot my small one. It was my fault though. I forgot the small. I will check out your comments in a minute. I'm almost got this emptied out. But one thing you don't ever want to do is you do not want to take out tools out of your main tool bag, especially if you're rotating vehicles or anything, because two things I couldn't find. I couldn't find my staple gun. I did find it later on, but then I forgot the flat bar. I took the flat bar out of my bag, man. That was stupid. Do not take tools out of your work bag. Buy other ones. It's almost like one of those things you got to tell yourself. You go, I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And then you do it, and then you really go, I'll do it again. That was stupid. Don't ever do it again. This guy ready for a shower. That's what I do now. Probably like the only one. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be interested in buying one of these the Ford vans. Just make sure nothing fell down. Even if they had a longer one, I definitely have to go with a taller one. But I don't know. There was some nice hooks right here, but the bumper's nice. The bumper's nice and big. It's a little bit bigger than the Chevys for stepping up. Let's see, how do you do this? Unlock. There you go. Oh, I didn't want to unlock it. What am I doing? There we go. We'll blow up front. Oh crap! I forgot. I gotta blow this out real quick. Get nice and clean, right? It's just the right thing to do. Bring it back in the same condition or better. So tired. Hopefully I don't knock anybody over. Trying to turn it on low. Turn it on low. got that auto light stuff turned off on me. Oh, that's okay. Well, we won't leave that in there. We got to take this out. So that's definitely got to come out. Let me throw you in the cab for a second. That's if it lights back up for me. Let's see how it goes. I'll check out some of your comments. Hope everybody's doing good. Oh, thanks for being here. All that good stuff. I don't know where to put you. We got like this little, I guess. There you go. There you go. This thing's got all kinds of little cubbies on it. It's pretty cool in the front, but why is there change? Only in the vehicle today, and there's already change in the cup holders. Probably because I stopped at the old Mickey D's and had me a, what do you call it? McGriddle? Anybody like the McGriddles? I see the lights on here, but this light, we don't have a light up here. Let's go. There we go. Shine some light on this situation. Got a water. Get rid of this tripod just to be safe. Oh, we got some water. We're looking good. Let me get my hands emptied out. I'll check you out. Whoa. Is the back clear for beer? I think so. This all looks good. There we go. Looks good. Oh, what is that? What is that? There's like some weird knuckle thing down there. It's for the steering. Whoa. All right. Well, that's cool. All right. Oh, what do we got here? What are we doing? How are we doing? See, we got 3 likes. There must be we must be live streaming still here, which is great. So that means we must be still working. Oops, sorry. What's OI? I don't know what OI, but hello. Oh yeah, Rich. I thought that was. Yeah, you had the wife. Oh come on, why you gotta be like that? It's all this technology. I turned you on. I want you to have a dead battery. There we go. But yeah, the Rams. I don't know about the Rams. I really don't know much about these newer ones. I swear a mechanic told me that I don't know if it was DTE Fleet or something like that, or an energy company, but they were talking that he says he was still saying that the Chevys, he thinks in his opinion, even with I think they have the new ones that have the 8-speed. He was saying that he thinks they're still the least dirty shirt in the laundry basket, because he said the Ford ones. He says every time the Ford ones come in, and I have no idea if this is true or not, but I haven't done much research. But he just told, he says every time the Ford Transit ones or whatever come in, he goes, it's always a motor or transmission. And I'm just like, oof, that don't sound cheap. I should look. If I was smart, I'd take pictures and figure out which one this is just to do some reference on it. Because, I mean, I have some features. I like the cup holders. The windows feel awkward. It's got that weird, like you can't put your arm on the window, right? It doesn't fit right. You know, like if you want to cruise, you know what I mean? Like when it's a hot day or something, you want to breathe out your armpit. So I don't know. They just feel a little funky. But the Rams, I know a company in town, they run them, but I don't know anything about the Rams. I don't know if they're good or if I had good luck with them. A lot of miles on them, solid. It seems like these transit ones, and sometimes maybe the Ford the Ford and the Dodge. I don't know if they like. I just don't know if they've been proven. That's the problem. The Chevy ones, obviously, if it's a Chevy motor without that deactivation, pretty solid, right? They're pretty solid stuff. Transmission, though, been having, I think, 10 speeds and the 8 I was worried about. But lucky the older vans have the 6-speed in them. Is it Chase? What's up, Chase? Says, always been a truck guy. Personally love my F2, he says, but mainly do installs and some work. Yeah, everybody's got their preference. I mean, like, if it was, like, super cold out, I definitely wouldn't want a van. You know what I mean? If I was in really, like, probably up there, like, where Evan's at, up in Canada, I would consider, because it gets if you're below, if you're probably in the 25 Fahrenheit, I would say, like, a lot of the times I would say definitely. But for us, we normally sit, we hit the 20s and that once in a while, and then we're normally above, we're in the 30s for the, kind of 3 quarters of the year type of thing. But today it was below, it was like 20 when we started out. And we had the heater going, and it's amazing that this little cage here will block some of the cold, not all of it, of course, but it really wasn't bad. It's almost like it makes a draft, so the heat wants to just head back instead of you think it's kind of going to blow on you. But honestly, the same thing happened today. You guys will have to stay tuned, so make sure you subscribe and all that good stuff. But I'll post some videos eventually here of us doing this job, and I am not gonna lie, I ran into the same situation. We didn't get done till probably all of 5, 6 o'clock, and I'm beat, man. I was beat. It's like the van was stuffed. I was super happy that I could throw all the cardboard, all that plastic stuff in there. It was a mess. I just got it done. I just chopped up doors. So it was a long day. Like I said, the vans have always worked the best in our business. Just due to that, trucks seem like everything gets sucked out of them if it's a windy day. Even when you're at the job site, if you got to stuff things in there, even though it was sticking out, I just never had good luck with the trucks. We had the Ford Rangers and stuff like that too, but I never liked hauling them with the extenders on them. They're bouncy. This ride's nice. Everything is in shelter in case, in Michigan, everything changes. The weather changes dramatically. So, like, I did everything tonight. I really wanted to work on some of it tomorrow because I'm pooped. But the weather's going to be really crummy tomorrow. Winds, rain, snow, high winds. So I thought, yeah, I really just better get this done. But that's cool. Like I said, trucks are cool. I mean, trucks work. I'd really like. I wish the manufacturer would come out with a truck with like maybe like 11-foot bed or something in it, so you could haul some longer stuff. It's like you got to buy a stinking flatbed. Peter, what's up? Just popping in to say hi. I can't stay right now, but you're still on around 10. I'll be back. All right. Probably won't be on. Oh, is it breaking up? The old Wi-Fi here. We'll see if maybe it was jumping. I don't know. You never know how it works. But anywho, I hope, Rich, if you can hear me, let me know too. What's it been like over there? You been doing anything? You got anything in the pipeline? I know Mr. Kale, he got a couple, so that's cool. He got a couple little jobbies coming up, but he's going to be gone. Little vacation, spring break. So, but otherwise, like I said, things have been steady for us. Nothing gangbuster or anything, but slow. He's got slow. Yeah, it's like I said, it's not nothing. I'm not seeing a lot of like residential stuff. So yeah, we've talked about it before. There's a lot of things in the pipeline. I think a lot of people are getting really, I think they might be getting worked up a little more than they should about the tariffs and stuff. If you're in the chicken sales, I think you're doing pretty good, right? Chickens are flying off the shelf for little baby chickens and all that kind of stuff. Probably meat ones too, whatever. I don't know. There's all kinds of craziness. I try to sometimes kind of block a little bit of that out. I play kind of ignorant to it. I see it and I like it and all that kind of stuff. And I like to kind of know what's going on. But, I don't get too excited too much about the tariffs. It's, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, it's out of my control, man. The only thing I can do is either consume less, try to make better choices, depending on which way it goes. But it's always one of those like, it's like the middle class always pays. You know what I mean? It's like we're always in fear of being broke, so we always work our heinies off, and it's like we pay the most in tax, so you're always in that weird screwed up spot, right? But if you're on the lower end, which I think the lower end's getting pinched now, for all the freebies handout, I think they're getting a little bit nervous because some of that stuff's getting bit off, for them. But who knows? What's up, boys? What's up, Mr. Tony? Tony, what'd you do today? Get anything done today? I just did a lonely 16x7 with windows, man. And I tell you what, I'm not trying to bash it, but I'm gonna say just for a treat. Oh, Rich, why has it got to be like that? He says, "Did you get the new price sheet up 7%?" Man, who's the price sheet from? I told the secretary we had a bad experience today. We had a bad experience, man. So we're gonna try your company there, Rich. I told her, I said, hey man, you really need to try this company. And she's like, she found them in another state, but she didn't find that one. And I said, I'll look for it. Maybe when I'm laying in bed. I don't know if it's gonna happen today actually, because it's gonna be like shower and sleepy. So I just wonder if that 7% is through who or whatever. But we did Wayne Dalton today, and it was not good. Wait, all right, I didn't tell you to turn off. Are they digital? How does this work? I'm so confused. I don't know what's going on. 16 8 by 7. 3 years takeout, put in, and load up. Dude, I have no idea. How did you do it that fast? It took me all day to put this on the opener. It's probably because I was dealing with an inferior. Maybe I was dealing with an inferior product. Wayne Dalton really ticked me off today. I ain't gonna lie. The bottom seal probably cost me all of 30, 45 minutes screwing on with the bottom seal. See, it'll come out, and then the sections were not the same length. They were roughly a quarter inch or so, just a little under a quarter inch of difference for length of the door section. So when you know how when you stack it and you sight down one and you're like, all right, that one's good. And you go to the other side, you're like, what the? Now what do we do? Split the difference. So I split the difference. Dimples were not in the right spot. So I got to my top section. I already built the whole top section with the windows. I went to lay up the hinge with the GDO bracket, and it's like 2 inches off, maybe 3. And I'm like, what the fudge? And the dimples are even wrong on the top section. So it's like the back skin was all shifted the wrong way. Oh, and then in the picture, they give you those goofy little bearing things. And I'm trying to see if I can get you out of light. They give you those little goofy little bearing things. And luckily I grabbed the standard bearing plates, because the way it pinned up there, it wasn't going to hit right. So I made that work. Yeah, I wasn't too happy today. Was not too happy. What else? The bottom seal. Those. It just wasn't going good. It was just like, it was fighting me. Oh, and then the back hangs. I love back hangs are short. So probably I'm assuming Victa doesn't have that problem. And Rich B's door company, I'm assuming. Let me know. But you know how like when you do your horizontals, there was already drops. And yeah, I'm like, 4 inches short. So I'm like, great. I'm like, well, we might as well make new kings. I don't want to ghetto it, and I was like, I could have put a piece of angle on it. I could have, found out a way. I've done like, a bridge or whatever you call it, like a brace up. And the problem was the back kings were actually pretty solid. So 6 likes too. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. But, yeah, so that was a bummer. It was fighting me. It was just, everything was adding up. We took a nice lunch. That didn't help. But yeah, but it just blows my mind. It feels like if you want to do attention to detail, it takes so long. And we had to take out a wood door. So that's just heavier and everything. And then of course I had to process it, cut it up, put it in the dumpster. Yeah. Oh, Rich B's he's my guy. He's probably due, man. He's got good price. So I mean, I can't shun him for a price increase. I'm sure it's coming across to everybody else as well. And that's all right. I'm just confused if it's my own thing. I got to find out if it's $75 per door or it's going to be $75 just per kind of truckload for delivery. Because I know with Safeway, there's something goofy with them. I don't know. I just heard rumors around the shop that their delivery charge is just like of some sort. It's just not good. So I'm not sure how exactly that plays out. So that's why Safeway's been kind of out of the picture. I think the secretary said something about Clopay, but I feel like we still have a lot of glitches with Clopay. Like ours is just not solid. So I think it's we really need to find something more solid. This is just this is a sandwich door with a row of insulated glass, not short panel white. And this thing was just kind of felt train wreck, especially with the bottom seal. Golly, I get so upset with the bottom seal. Tony says, 2 guys. I had 2 guys today. You talk about me. But of course, I was, little B-roll. And, so sometimes, plus I got on the phone, and the phone is a killer. So I'll start, because that starts adding up when I got to text people and everything. My own door spring staying the same so far. Rich says, those come with bottom seal installed. Just have to trim and tuck. That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. That bottom seal, like I said, the way they even have it, the L shape on it is it you'll see. There'll be a video coming out, and it's acidine. Absolutely acidine. So stupid. So stupid. And like I said, if I would have sent Caleb out there, I would expect a lot of calls. And that's what I try to avoid, especially if you even just try to sell this product for new installers, and that's the thing a lot of people don't understand is that how I talk about the prep? Well, this is the prep big time, right? Because you don't know what's happened. I could get sick, somebody could fall off, somebody could quit. You bring in a new guy or something, right? And this product is inferior. Where if I'm struggling, with 18 plus years, I'm probably sitting at 19, 20 now. You know what I mean? If I'm struggling, what do I expect a guy that's only, that's got under a year, or a year experience to do in this situation? So, not cool. Pre-trip. What's pre-trip? What do you mean pre-trip? Bottom seal. What's up, guys? Oh, Rusty's in the house. What's up, Rusty? Oh, vinyl back. Rich, do they do steel back? This was a steel back. So, I know it was a hefty price. I think it was, well, if you got a price by chance, throw it out there. I'm just curious. I might look up the numbers because I think I glanced. I didn't look right. I think it was like over a $4,000 bill for this. So they paid a price with as much time and stuff we put in. They got their pennies worth. We made it real nice. Like I said, we redid the back hangs, opener backs we had to redo because it had a Craftsman up there, and I think 12 something. Okay, thank you for that. So I'm thinking though. What am I thinking? I think I foobarred a little bit because I think you guys mentioned it. I looked up there talking to the customer. I think they actually now the brackets come with 2 prongs, right? I think the LiftMaster came with 1 prong. Now they switched it to 2 prongs. Correct? Let me know if I'm right with that. But I bailed on it because I was like, oh, these photo eyes, man. And I wasn't trying to be cheap. I wasn't trying to like skip a process. But I just thought, man, if this was my plate. So the old photo eyes worked. Cross my fingers. Let me know if I did something wrong. If they're not going to work. They worked fine. I ran the opener probably at least 15, 20 times while we were there. Not consecutively. Like as we were working on things and cleaning and doing. But everything programmed. Everything was good. Everything programmed. Everything was good. But I thought, I do not want to put those cheesy photo eyes on there that have crappy brackets because the guy has kids. And I thought it was sad that I even have to think this way nowadays. I was just like, this is stupid that I got to think this way, that I got to leave these old brackets because they're better than the new brackets. Plus, the wiring was kind of tucked. And I was like, I'm not going to run all new wire. I said, I'm like, then I'm going to cut and I'm going to splice it. And I thought, that's another weak point. So I said, you know what? I'm going to leave old photo eyes on there. I ended up, they were still in the wad. So what I did is I zip tied them up to single iron because I figured, hey, up there, you ain't going to lose them. And I made them clean as I could. You know what I mean? That garage wasn't like a super pristine garage. Obviously, if it had drywall and everything was beautiful, the guy's got his, everything just perfectly laid out, the man cave, and he's out there with a TV. Obviously, I would have done something different. But open rafters, some insulation, it's all good. And I told him, too, when he came back, and I said, hey, man, I zip tied those up there. So if you ever have a problem, or something. They're there, you know. I said, but I said, this is why. Well, as I'm telling them, I'm looking, I'm like, it looks like there's 2 bugs on there. I was like, so maybe those are a little more solid. And I was like, I still have this wire. And I thought, I'm just going to leave it. So, but it's just that we, you know, I'll send you a pic. Right. Whoa, going dark again. Push a button. I'm still here, Van. Wake up. What do I got to do to wake you up? This is the 3rd or 4th time you said no. I can't believe you can't override the lights. You know, that's just retarded. I don't even think I got keys in this thing. Let me see if I can open the door. I don't like technology. I like when I turn stuff on, it stays on until it dies. T52 vinyl back, torsion, and clues trim. We need steel back. This was a steel back. Steel on steel, steel back, Wayne Dalton, 8300. So it's not this thicker one. It's going to be a little bit thinner. Like, I don't know what it is. If it's like 1.75 inches. Which brand, Rich door leg he's got? Oh, look them up. Yeah, I think they got it pretty nice. I trust you. I trust you, man. Like I said, and I can't be too much more disappointed when you got door sections, links are off. You know, the dimples aren't right. They got that weird top bracket. Just, you know, it's just too many things. Just too many things. I think the only thing they maybe have is their packaging. I've never seen anybody else have fully wrapped in cardboard. Wayne Dalton does a pretty good job. I do like that. They slide pretty nice inside of vehicles or your, you know, service. You know, that works pretty good. But bottom seal, that's a killer. Dimples, that's ridiculous. That's a huge quality, you know, quality issue that should never even make it out the door. It just feels like all the time when you get these manufacturers, certain ones, they slap this stuff together and they never think about like they never had to be out in the field with the pressure, with the customer, installing a door. And it's like, dude, like this is a real deal. You know what I mean? Like this is a real problem. It's just like they just don't, you know, they're just not there. They're just like, yeah, that's close enough. It'll be fine. They'll have to figure it out. Okay. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Rich B's got 2-inch, man. 2-inch, all 2-inch, man. That's my style, man. Just let's not even screw around. Let's just keep her all the same, baby. I love it. I'll have to find whatever information. Can't go with Invicta, Mr. Tony. I'd love to. I'd love to try them out, but they won't come up as far as I know. That's it. So Rich, that's where the secretary found. That's why she was thinking. I said, no, I said they're down in Chicago. And she said something about what'd she say? She said, well, it'd be nice if they could send me an email so I could see their stuff or something. And I said, I'll look it up. I said, I know there's a website. I said, you know, some across a link, Rich, or something, you know, or whatever it is. Again, just send it. If you can, text me it or something. I'll forward it. I just told her, I said, hey, I said, I already talked to the guy. I said, all you got to do, I said, he was a cool cat. I said, all you got to do, I said, is place an order, cut him a check. That's all he said. And I was like, that's my type of guy, man. None of this, well, we got to do a credit check. We got to check to how many kids you got, what kind of place, blah, 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 what kind of credit card, you know what I mean? They just, hey, just write me a check and the way go on, baby, you know? And I don't know I wonder if the only thing I do wonder is eventually if they do if you can get like a credit with them or whatever, you know, with overtime, which is fine. If they don't, they don't. That's fine too, especially with residential. Just cut them a check. It's fine. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult because sometimes there's not always somebody at the shop and stuff, so that gets a little bit cumbersome. But as long as they give us a heads up and they're cool, that's great. We're good. We will try our best to. Dave, Pennsylvania. People always put what's it says lip on front of concrete and 2-inch doors won't fit sometimes. Ooh, wow. I've never experienced that. Not around here anyways. They always, what do? They normally stick a 2x4, I think, in there is what the one builder was telling me. And that's normally good enough to keep it. Like the one I did today was a retro. So it was just old school concrete. The guy's place was great because technically I see it came through. Thank you, Rich. But guy, he had an overhang, and even the guy told me he's a cool dude. He's like, I like overhangs. I'm like, oh, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. And I said, and I see you got a gutter. So, and being a wood door, that's probably what saved that door. It had a little bit of blemish in the corner, but honestly, that's why that door lasted so long because I had gutter, I had an overhang. You know what I mean? You can't go wrong. I think the concrete had a little bit of a slope away too, so that saved it. So that door that we installed today should be great. Should work good. Um, but I don't know why if it did or somebody just missed it. If it came with two struts, I mean, one strut was not enough, so I added two. That kind of is what it is. I can live with that kind of stuff. But when I opened up that box and I seen that bottom seal, I was like, son of a biscuit. And I had to have luckily I had my special screws. Um, but like these are those things I look at that I go, if I was a sub or if I a new guy starting out, this would be a challenge. Like this would be a problem. And I know it seems like it's something very minute, but you guys understand, I think. You know what I mean? You know how if you got like an impact that's glitching out here, or you ain't got a good knife, or you ain't got a good pair of boots, or just something, right? Maybe you don't have good underwear. Been there, done that. It makes life so much easier and better. And things were just compounding, and that's what ticked me off. It was like, okay, here's one. So what did we have? We had one, two, three, four. I think we had five. I think we had 5 to 6 issues. And I just like, this is dumb. And it's not the first time. It ain't like I said, if it's a one off, where it's like, wow, it's been a year. But I don't know. Mm. Oh, look at Rich. He's all like rubbing it in there. He said, oh, my door's come with two struts. Nice. And it was weird too, is like, you know how you get that psychological thing going? So I was, we're getting kind of to the end, right? And I'm winding the springs and I'm realizing I'm going, I put 7.5 turns on it and I lift up the door and the door feels like a lugger. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, you know how when you do a job and it starts compounding and you're like towards the end where you're like, all right, I'm done, man. I'm time to get out of here. It's time to quit screwing around and let's get to work. And I mean, I was just starting to slam things out. I was getting into that marching order. So I got Caleb. I'm like, just do this next, do that next. And I'm like, I know how to keep myself going. And he works great, but we were just behind. And when I felt that spring, I'm like, don't tell me these are not the right springs, because the hardware box didn't make it. So the hardware box was shipped out separately, UPS, which that stuff happens. But now it says on the box something about black. I remember something black on there, like for like a black door. So now I'm like, this is not the right, so I'm looking at it and I'm like, is it the right model? Yes. What's it say for springs on it? Okay, it's the right size. Okay, so the springs should be right. I get into it. I'm like, dude, something's not right. So I pick up the door. I'm like, I literally had to put another whole turn on each spring. Don't know why, but just to get it to feel, and it did not even feel like it balanced out that good. It's a heavy door. It runs smooth. It's very livable, but when your mind is going rampant because now you're sitting there going, oh my gosh, like we got this new opener here, this new LiftMaster. I don't know if it can handle it. I don't know if it's going to freak out. Oh crap, if I don't put these photo eyes on there, it's just stuff starts compounding, where it's like, is it going to freak out? Like, does it work right now? It's kind of like that home link. LiftMaster is really good about doing this stuff. It's like that home link when they had that little spat with the dealerships or whatever, or the car manufacturers, and they changed behind the scenes, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the heck? Why can't I get this remote to work for this guy's car? And he's like, and the guy's looking at me and he's like, you mean to tell my opener from the 1980s or whatever it was, 90s or whatever it was, he's like, won't program to my car? And I'm like, yes, sir, it won't. I'm like, you have to buy a repeater. And he's like, that's ridiculous. He's all mad. What's up, Mr. Evan? Hope you're doing good. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's your day, right? You got the whole day off, Evan? You got tomorrow off? Got all your tools. I just got all my tools cleaned up. I'm done, man. My tools are all cleaned up. What's he got? What's the rest says? Do they balance them differently compared to one? I don't differently compared to one. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Do they balance them different compared to one? Whoa. Try this button again. See if that'll let me activate. That button does not let me activate. That one does nothing. This, oh, that let me turn it on this time for whatever reason. U-Haul, new service van. Yeah, the new U-Haul. Man, we're good, man. We're good. It was, they got me. I ain't gonna lie. They got me. It's $120. So they got me because they want $15 extra per day. And of course, they kind of swindle you with like, well, that's if something's, it's a $15 insurance. So they got me a little bit. But honestly, I think it worked out great. So like for you, Evan, I don't know locally up there or how that works, but for me, I think I got a great relationship. They treat me good. I can pretty much go out and pick the van, and they, I just tell them the number. It's like they know me a little bit there. I don't know if they have a report anywhere that tells because like the last time I had the big truck, I bring the big truck all back clean and stuff. I was like, hey man, it's all set. I think they appreciate that kind of stuff. So the dude was real cool with me today. So it worked out great. I didn't have to contaminate another guy's vehicle. Yeah, I got this one a little dirty, some boot prints and stuff, and a little mud on the fenders. Nothing too crazy, and I'm going to take it back. It's not my problem. I don't have to wash it. I don't have to maintenance it. I don't have to worry about the motor blowing up. I don't care. It just goes back and goodbye. So somebody that's kind of doing it part-time here and there, I think it's a good option, you got to kind of have your tools, however you set them up. But, nice. It was nice to try out the vehicle too. So I don't think, unless I sure knew I was going to stay under warranty and do like either a lease or just keep the van for how long the warranty is on it, the drivetrain, this thing feels like it's going to break. Like it's going to have some kind of major problem that's going to cost a lot of cars are doing that nowadays. Like Eric O, right, Rich B? $500 change a light bulb, ridiculous. U-Hauls. Surewinder works great. Wine springs in about 3 minutes. The Surewinder would have been nice today. I didn't feel too bad. Honestly, that residential one was pretty sweet, but I was thinking about it in the back of my head. I was like, I should have brought my spring turner. I was like, I got a big spring turner. I was like, that was too big to bring here. So I just did it by hand. So it worked out. Adding 2 struts to every door. Dave, I was talking about Rich adding 2 struts. Gotcha. If I do that when I order from Clopay, they will increase the spring size. Oh, well, I mean, I get it. I get it. I really never had too much problem with adding 1 strut. But I get what you're saying. It does add up, but I don't think it should have felt the way it did today. It went through, but it just felt, the door just felt very lethargic. I can't say that word. It just felt, and then with all the stuff happening, I got it about a quarter of the way up, and I'm just like, what is on with this? And then I still had to adjust my back hangs. So I'm thinking, all right, screw it. I'm going to clamp it here. I'm going to adjust my back hangs. I got the back hangs locked in. I was already like in that like conservative mode. You guys ever hit like the conservative mode where you're just like, I have to conserve myself. I have to keep myself safe and not kill myself because I know I'm overwhelmed right now and I'm like to punch something in the face. And so I clamped it because I thought, I don't want this door moving on me. I don't want it going down. I don't want it going up. I just want it to stay where it's at. So I clamped the roller and I got everything tuned in the back, and then I started working on it, and there's no way. Because normally I'm a little bit light on the winding springs, and I thought, I already went, like I said, 7.5. I'm like, this door is going to be hot. And when I went to lift it, I'm like, this door is a dud. And I'm like, all right. So I'm like, well, I will put 1 turn on this side. I did it. That still does not feel good enough. I thought, sure, I'll put a whole nother turn on the other side. And then when the door was up, I noticed too, I was looking at the springs, looking at the turns, and I'm like, that one has a little bit more on it. So I was like, I'm going to make sure that one's got a bit more added to it so they're equal. But it worked. It's working good. It's going to be fine. It's just when you're not out playing with them anymore, stuff's changing behind the scenes. Wink, wink. Like lift pass. You just don't know what they're going to do. So like when Caleb was putting the opener together, I've failed to realize that I didn't bring a plastic cap, one of the little spreaders. You guys know I'm talking about, the spreaders that I should keep the chain from slapping, because it was a chain drive, just T-rail. I think, what was the model of that? I don't know, 30 something, 3360. I don't know, 33. I don't know there, but I was like, hey, did you see a plastic? He's like, no. And I'm thinking, yeah, I thought, those boogers they wouldn't even give you one. You know what I mean? I thought, but maybe they did. I was thinking, I was hoping, right? I was just hoping. I thought maybe they'd be nice enough. I mean, you're buying the premium product. I thought, you're buying the LiftMaster, right? Where's the LiftMaster fanboys, huh? Well, come on. We need some help here. So I thought they can give us that plastic piece. I'm like, oh, but the crappy residential ones, right, at the box store, they get it, right? So the chain doesn't slap against the tubing, but this one doesn't. So it is what it is. And I looked at the old opener. I thought maybe I could steal one off there, but they clipped in the tube rail. It was a Craftsman. And I'm like, I can't use that. So I'm like, whatever. I'm like, it is what it is. It'll live without. I've done it for years without them. But it's just sweet when they have them now. So there was that. Yeah. Tony's. Look at Tony, man. I already seen that. Tony's got this. Talk about that Surewinder. Let's not. Let's see here. That boy Rich. He's got Wayne Dalton are not your door, question mark, or you forgot how they were to install. It was, it's like riding a bike. You just never forget. It seems like it was more or less that how do I say it? You ever as you get older in life, you feel like things should get better, right? Like my one perfect example would be like cars, right? All this year of technology and research and billions of dollars, and yet we have these cars that are made to break down in certain time. I just always would think certain things, appliances and stuff, but in the back of my head, instead, I have the fear of always going, what do they cheap out on this time? Like when I was hitting the metal, I thought this metal feels a lot like spongier than normal. Like when, how like when you're listening to screws, and you're like, so like I was telling Caleb, I said, you be really careful how you screw in. I said, because the struts are easy to get confused. I said, when you put them over the hinge, because you're hitting into that strut and you'll strip out the door. It's like my buddy always told me, he goes, I think with those doors, he says, it's biting harder on the strut than it is the door. Well, obviously it is. But it was just that when I was fighting the bottom, I was thinking to myself, why are we dealing with this? And the bottom seal. And then when the dimples didn't line up, that's a huge quality control. That's stupid. You know what I mean? And why should I have to be the one that catches it? Why would I not put my top hinges on, my third panel, and then they don't match up on the top panel. They were off from the windows. And I'm like, dude, that's off. And so it's just a lot of things, this kind of, so it's just time. It's time, and that's the thing is I'm a small fish. So I'm not going to go about guarantee. I don't think there's anybody on this channel. God bless you if you are, you know what I mean? I don't think there's anybody on this channel that's big enough that they could swing a company or the other and say, if you don't change this, I'm moving somewhere else. Unless you're probably overhead the Red Ribbon brand, they got power of some sort, but for the rest, you can tell them, you just got to deal with it. You got to suck it up, and like I said, it's one of those things. If your dealer works good for you and you have no problems, great. Keep them, that's great. We don't have that, unfortunately. We have that okay gets the job. So I think it's time. It's time. Just looked at Enterprise Renault. He says they have Ford and Mercedes. Does it seem like when I called Enterprise? Because I thought about trying to do like a lease, but it normally when you do the numbers, it's like, well, unfortunately it's a little bit more expensive than just making the payments, and you can fit it the way you want it. I mean, where I don't know how much you could do to an Enterprise van by putting bins in it and put a ladder rack on it, or maybe it comes, maybe it don't. That's it seemed like when you were putting the miles on, it seemed like that was working better. Hey, who did that? I like the switch is at least working this time. So I don't know. When I looked at it a few years back, it just didn't really make sense. But for the off, for some of the new guys, like maybe like Evan or something, this, if you don't want to have the customer having the door at their, maybe at their house, or this might be a great option, you know what I mean? Because at least you could touch it, feel it, look at your product. Now you can load it. You got a way to haul the old door, but I guess you got to have the time, too, a little bit, because like for me, I did a 2-day on this. Could I probably done it in a day? Maybe, but I'd be really rushing it. So I don't want to be under the gun. Says people traded easy accessible through phones and quiet openers for long-term reliability. Yeah, I about freaked out because I already talked to the customer. I mean, these are the things that have these little panic attacks. So I'm talking to the customer, and he's like, his keypad is on the brick. It's around the on the face of the building or the house, and he's like, if we could just put it back there, that's fine. He's like, if not, he's like, I don't want gaping holes, and I'm like, totally understandable. And I was like, I have no idea why it's on the brick, and I have no idea because there was a nice wood G next to it, and I'm like, whatever, and so I'm like, yeah, we'll see what we can do. And then as we're working, we got towards the end. He had to leave for work for a little bit, but I'm thinking to myself. Also, I told Caleb, I said, dude, I'm sitting there, I go, 2 remotes, outside keypad. I go, where's the keypad? I said, don't tell me it didn't come with a keypad, because in my mind, it's the 257 or whatever it is for the extra stuff. And that would be them. And I thought, oh my gosh, I did not grab a keypad, and I haven't seen one. And luckily he picked it up, and he's like, no, there's one. And I thought because I'm so used to the residential one from the box store that everything's being pushed now for your phone. Use your phone. And I'm like, dude, I just talked to this guy. He knows he wants an outside keypad. We already discussed it. Now I'm going to disappoint. And then now what's it going to be? Do I got to make a trip myself? Do I got to call in for a runner? Do I, and luckily we weren't super far away, but you know how it is when all your tools and the doors are hanging out of the van and you got stuff flying everywhere, like I really want to leave. I already got my spot, Oh, that's good. Evan, he says, I'm probably gonna have to dig this door out of the snow. Oh man, dude, I'm sorry to hear that. I never thought about that. Dang, never thought about that. Gosh, I'm so glad you brought that up, Evan. Honestly, hey, we got 9 likes. Thank you guys for hitting the like button too. See, that might be another reason why. See, this is good, man. This is good. This is why I really like having Evan here, because I love, these are the things that you kind of forget about as you've been in the business longer, and you got certain other ways you do things. And that's why, I know there's what I always call blowback from having the door delivered, especially like, unless it's kind of like Rich. Like I said, Rich B, I like how he rolls it, you know what I mean? Get there an hour, tear it out, have the dude help you when it gets dropped off. That's pretty smooth operation right there. But and maybe Rich could tell us at some point, or he can text me or something too. Maybe there's blowback on that. You know what I mean? Like, hey, the delivery guy, he tells me, but he really doesn't show up at the right time or something, or it's a narrow driveway. We got to walk it from the road. I mean, so there's always those things where like this might be a better setup for Evan, the fact that, if you could have got the product, you could also look at it, because see, I'm just kind of talking off my head here. See, time is the enemy, right? Time is coming, right? Look at these gray hairs. Time is the enemy. So with time, that door, let's say for Evan, right? I'm going to use you an example. Sorry, Evan, I'm not trying to pick on you. That door is sitting right now. So I don't believe Evan's actually seen it, which why would he, right? Why would he make a trip there and all that kind of stuff and have to deal with the customer and be like, well, you're here, why don't you install it? But time right now is ticking. So with 3 or 4 days or whatever it's been passes by, that door damage that he could have caught and said, whoa, hey, before I do this, or can you get me a, or hey, we're not even going to install this. This thing is bent like a U shape, or it's crooked, or it's got bad something on it, or this ain't right, or this didn't come in, where me, right, like last night, and if this was at your house or a storage unit or whatever, it could be an enclosed trailer. I'm touching the product. I'm loading it. I'm thinking, where if you go there now, I didn't even think about it. With snow in it, that's another, like, that's not fun. Your hardware box might be, the customer might bring it inside. It could be wrapped, but you know what I mean? Just more time, more energy. So I never thought about that. That's a good point. And especially if you try to do that, if you're trying to do that like all year long and then you bad seasons, ooh. But like I said, maybe something like this, you just got to kind of bake it in and you got to understand. And it's hard, right? It's even hard for me. I go, $100, but I feel like I'm like, you know what? It was the right thing. And I think if I was a guy that was doing it maybe a couple a month or 3 months or three a month or whatever, I'd probably still do this because, hey, the customer didn't question me. They kind of looked a little. Does that say something on it? But it doesn't. They didn't say nothing. Didn't leak in the vehicle or in the driveway. It worked great. I can kind of throw stuff in. I don't really have to, think about it too hard. Oh man, don't scratch that. I mean, I wasn't gonna abuse it, right? But like I said, it's just I'm in it. Now it goes away and I forget about it. I go back to my old clunker truck. Do 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 do. Tony's got, I hate moving all my tools, always forgetting something that would suck. Yes, that is, I'm glad Tony brought that up too. Moving the tools. But you got to think, like I said, this is for a guy, because like, I mean, like this van cost a shitload of money. And to not worry about it, I'm going to send it back. I don't have to do oil change, transmission. I don't care about tire pressure. I don't care about none of it. I'm just using it and it'd be not really. But I'm just saying, I think this would still be a good because you just bake that in, right? Because, I was telling even Caleb, I said, if you go buy a vehicle, I said, and I was thinking about it, right? I told him, I said, well, if you bought it and then had like a seat in the back, that way if you ever had to haul some passengers, but I thought that's still a pain in the butt too. You always got to gut it for personal. That's where it got to be hard for me too. It's personal, then it's business. It's personal, it's business. That's tough too. But for me, I did pretty good. And that's why I would encourage some of you guys out there, and I would encourage Evan, you start carrying. Oh, I took it out of here. I don't have it, but I got my book, right? And I got all my notes in there, and I went through it again this morning before I took off. But go through your notes. And that's and then what I do is I always make sure I'm looking. You got to be disciplined. You got to spend the time that when you forget something, say, you know what, not for a minute, especially if you got the minute to do it. Stop for a minute, go walk up to that vehicle, write that thing down that you forgot. Like today, I mean, I had on there, I had a leaf blower and then I had broom. And I'm like, leaf blower seems a little extreme. Now, the only reason I can make that decision is because one of you guys did a great job. Thank you, by the way. It took pictures and I thought, leaf blower is a little overkill, but a broom will work. So I brought a broom and a dustpan, but that was on my list. But I also have a heater on there and all kinds of stuff. The weather wasn't cold enough for a heater today. So I went through my list and the list will make you so much more efficient, so much faster. But I agree. Yes, it is a real pain in the hiney to load up and unload because it made a long day. But you just got to stay kind of somewhat organized and it works. You just, but like I said, now I ain't got to worry about this big old van, you know what I mean? But yes, if I'm doing it, I don't know what I would say. I mean, if I'm doing it, I don't know. I don't know what the threshold, that would have to be up to you. You know what I mean? But like I said, if I was doing I'd probably just get a van like this. I'd just rent it, you know what I mean? And, yeah, I mean, would it have been nice? I mean, I could tell today. I went, it'd be nice if one of the company vans was sitting here with lettering on it. Now, it's not to say I couldn't put a sign out in the road. You know what I mean? Because there's all kinds of variables. Nobody really knows. I could, if I wanted to snowball them, I could tell them, well, my truck's in the shop. I've done it before because my truck has been in the shop before, and I've had to have a use a U-Haul. And people understand that. Vehicles break down. So you could tell them that, or you just say, yeah, I mean, this is how I keep my price so affordable for you, because I don't have a lot of overhead, or, this has just been the best, and I'm growing my business, and you can be honest about it, and people respect that. But hey, it was nice today. This thing rode nice. It wasn't clunking. It wasn't rattling. Um, it was smooth. I got to try a new piece of equipment that, I think I'll go this route. I mean, I'd probably stick with maybe the Chevys, maybe. But it was nice. I had the options. They had Chevys there too. And the guy said, you said something about the vehicle. And I said, well, yeah. I said, I want to try, I'd like to try one of the Fords. And you can go out there and get the number of it, whatever one you want. All right, cool. Someone out there looked for the one that looked the cleanest without, one had a dent in it. I was like, I don't know that. I was like, I'll just take this end one. I said, I think that's the one that probably just got returned, probably works, everything, boom. So But that's a very good point about loading stuff. That is a pain. But if you only got a personal vehicle, small, what do you got to do all that stuff too? Without the box seal not installed, they might as well send you the door panels flat. What is it? Mullion not installed. Yeah, the mullion. Yeah, I agree, man. It grinds me. It grinds me. Plus the screws that you're using seem a little bit overkill. They don't need little screws for it. It's I don't know. It don't feel right. It's just. Oh, Rusty says, Dave, reason are you, says you are your other two in the yard not running. No, those are running. We're just, now we hit a little bit of a spike for business, and I've done it before. I could have stolen one of the other guys' vans, but what I've noticed over the years, especially with employees, and this isn't, good or bad, it just is what it is. But if I use somebody else's van, I've had this happen numerous times. It's like I said, it is what it is. I could take a tool. I could lose a tool. I'm disorganized. It's like if I come in junk drawer in your house and I start messing with it and I start pulling things and stuff, you're going to know it. Like, you're going to open up a junk drawer, like, who the hell is screwing in my junk drawer? And then you're automatically think of something that you need. You're going to be yelling at me, right? Just like your kid. David, did you take my screwdriver? Maybe I used it. Did you put it back? It's, you know what I mean? So it's just easier. Hey, this van was clean. Their vans are just their vans. You know what I mean? And this way, my tools didn't get contaminated with them. Their tools didn't get contaminated with me. It just kept everything clean. So, and like I said, I also wanted to try out different. So the vans, I could have stole one. But I decided to go this route because there was a couple reasons. I mean, I definitely wanted to try, but I had a job. I had a job at 16x7 door to test it out. I also wanted to kind of use that brain power to say, what would I do if I was starting out again, to show some of you guys and hopefully encourage some young bucks out there that you got to think bigger, right? Thought very small when I always thought, I got to have the new fancy truck, and I got this. No, you don't. It's just like when I was always told about the airplanes, do you want to own an airplane? And I'm like, oh no, too big. Where am I going to store that? I don't want to pay for the pilot. I don't pay for fuel. Right. That's how sometimes you got to think certain things. Now, I'm not trying to advocate that, if you're running a full-fledged business, you need to go do, the ready rentals or the U-Hauls, sorry. But what I'm trying to say is that you have options. I see so many people say, well, I got a small car, or, okay, well, then you just got to bake it into your price, right? That you're covered on it, for your labor and your cost of your vehicle. But what's nice about this is fixed. So if you started baking this in, I want to make $200 on the job, or $400 or 1.2 million, and my van's going to cost me this, and this is very simple. And like I was talking to the wife, she says it's just an expense. There's no asset. There's no, well, how much did you pay for the new van? How much did you sell the new van or the used van for? All this crap that happens at the end of the year and all that stuff with accountants and all that jazz. So I just it was easier. Throw my tools in, test it out, all these goodies. Rusty, Dave, he's got money to blow. I drive a little pickup truck. I don't get the money to blow. No, that wasn't it. Like I said, I don't know. I'm just laughing. Like I said, it's all good. It's all good. I like joking around. But no, just like I said, it got me. Like, I was like, oh, it's $50. $50, man. It's $50. And that wasn't including the mileage. But then when we went there, it was like another 15. And this is a little more expensive than I thought. Well, this is a good learning experience. For Evans, a storage unit and trailer, at least. If you're gonna have weather like that, at least you wouldn't have to take a shovel to dig out the door. Yeah, man, those are tough. Those are tough, man. I've been there. They're all wet. You go lift handles, your gloves are all wet. Makes a slimy mess. Because what do you do? What do you do? Sprinkle salt on it? No. Take a blowtorch to it? No. Shovel? Be careful. Don't scratch it, you know. You load up with the weight on it to try to shake it out, bend the panels. Oof. You know, yeah, I get it. I get it. One thing I've noticed over the years with me, I just pulled out that pieces of dunnage. Man, we got 9 likes. Maybe we can 10. Maybe we could get 10 likes. But what was it? I pulled the dunnage out yesterday, and they were under a tarp. But I tell you what, the tarp was not in the best shape, and the cardboard was all wet. They actually pretty decent, but man, I tell you, garage doors. One thing I've learned is that garage doors just do not like. I mean, at least in Michigan, it seems like you get 2 weeks out of the year that you get zero stuff in the air. Otherwise, it's pollen, leaves, it's the twirly things off the trees, it's the buds, it's snow. It just garage doors just do not do good outside. They always get crap in them. You know, if they get leaves and stains on them, or they get that debris bottom, you know what I mean? It's like hard to, you know, be there with a smile on your face for the customer. How do you like your new door? It's multicolor from the leaves, you know. Do you like the prints on the back? You know, I've been out there scrub doors. Doors suck to clean. Ugh. Did you bid the van rental into your quote? I didn't quite look at the numbers, but the numbers were pretty high. They definitely made a good chunk of change on this one. So it would have been, you know, to me, we, you know, like it would still be 20, $50 or whatever it's going to be to use another vehicle, you know, the time and wear and tear. But the price of a great night's sleep is priceless. You know what I mean? Because like I said, no matter what, since I was just interjecting myself and I didn't want to haul it with my truck and try to load my stuff with all a bunch of tools and then take 2 trucks, because we could have took Caleb's and then mine. I said, hey, we can ride in one vehicle. We're in town. We were 5 mile famous today. Woohoo. So we did really, so we're covered. You know what I mean? We're covered. I mean, if anything, we took a little bit longer than I anticipated, but we did a nice solid job for the customer, and that's what's important. But it was a, you know, how do I, you know, it was in there. You know what I mean? It's high enough. We're not going to eat ramen noodles. You know, we did a nice solid job for the customer too. But like I said, I didn't have to contaminate nobody's stuff. I don't have to deal with now, maybe tomorrow or the next day or whatever, somebody saying, hey man, did you use my Sawzall? And it's like, you know, and with their vehicles being so loaded, I can't even bring my tools. And I'm a fanatic about my tools. Like all my tools that came in here today, every battery is fully charged. Everything is ready to go. So, but for me to try to load that into one of our service vehicles with my own stuff, that's like impossible. You know how it is? Like I know how my own tools work. So it's just easier to do it this way, and it's simpler. And then I'm not, you know, because I always look at people's vehicles as kind of like their lockers. You know, like I don't go rummaging through their lockers in a sense. That's going to be their, you know, that's the kind of they like their setup the way they like it. They got their, you know, I don't want to mess with their cup hole, anything. You know, the radio station, the seat, the mirrors, because those are things that, you know, I know it sounds silly, but they get in a car accident and that'll turn into, well, the mirror was, I looked over, I went, you know, but somebody moved my mirror, and you're like, that was me. Crap. And that's how I hit the car next to me, because somebody moved my mirror and I didn't, you know, and I know that shouldn't be, but that's just how life is. Yeah. Evan, put your doors on sawhorses and tarp them. You could, but the tarp, you know, then you got to ways to wait. Like I've been trying to find a good weigh system. Like I was telling the wife the other day, I was like, I really feel like I need some sandbags. I was like, but I really don't like sandbags because there's sand and in a hole in them, you got sand everywhere. I was like, I need something like, I think of like a Stretch Armstrong. God darn this light. I need something that's weighted, but like, I just wish it had like a semi antifreeze in it that's biodegradable, but like a whoopee balloon, but bigger. You know what I mean? Because there's just something I need that I'm always like, I need to weigh stuff down from windstorms, or, you know, I've used chunks of wood, but they're kind of bulky and mean and slip. I don't know how to say it, but the problem is, like you say, you put a tarp and the tarp gets loose. Oof, you know, neighbor, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like so that's why, maybe it's just better to possibly get the door delivered or just leave it there and you pick it up the day of. Because you also have to remember, right? Every time it gets handled and it's not handled by you, sometimes people just don't understand. People at lumber yards will say, they treat it like a piece of plywood because that's all they think. And it's like, you can't do that, dude. You can't do that. They're picking up, they're bouncing it. And you're like, stop doing that. It'll kink it, dude. So it'll be interesting. I'm rooting for Evan. I hope everything goes smooth as glass, but he'll tell us the truth if something, he's learning. It's good. And I've had to go through it too, and hey, I'm not saying my way is the right way. It's just there's plenty of things to learn. And you just learn. You got to do it. I'm just so proud of them for doing it. That's the thing. Most people just, talk about it but never do it. So you just got to get out there. You gotta, like today, I was eating shirts too, Tony says, Evan, covered trailer that you could load your tools and leave them. There'd be like having a shop on wheels. Yeah, I mean, Tony's kind of got a good point. It's not bad. It's not bad. The problem I ran into with trailers is, so like my one trailer was a 20-foot long enclosed trailer, 8 foot wide, I think, roughly. It's like as wide as you go, 8 foot by 20. I remember that. That was a nice trailer, but that thing was a lug. And, you got to have the vehicle to pull it. You, if you got to make sharp turns and stuff like that, it's really dragging hard on the tires. So, and you just never know the situation. You can get a little better this time around nowadays because you can look at Google and stuff. But I would find myself like literally parking on the road because, like maybe their driveway was on an angle. And I'm like, I'm parking up on that angle and walking in the trailer or whatever, or it's just so bulky, like I can't sneak it in there. Or maybe they got trees or I've had basketball hoops. Those have been problematic. The door's got to be able to swing open. So maybe there's bushes on the side or something. So I guess if you have the drop down, I don't know what I would do. I used to have the swing doors. The drop down gate's nice because it's easy to walk up and down, but they're a little bit bulky, but that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. Never found it to be, because I would have one if I thought it was more convenient. But like for me, like when we wanted to go to lunch today or I had to run, I really didn't want to drag this big trailer. I typically always didn't feel comfortable unloading the trailer at a job site because it never failed that it's either going to be in the way, on a level surface. Maybe I'm not in the best area, so you got to bring a trailer lock. There's just a lot of variables. So to me, it's worth the extra to load it up, to either just rent something. Plus, I don't have to store it. It's not in my what you have for land. It's not taking up space. I don't have to, maintenance it, all that kind of stuff. So there's stuff to bring up, but Tony's got a good idea. I mean, that's not a bad idea. You could do a smaller one, but the problem with smaller trailers I run into is where do you put the doors? You know what I mean? Like, either got to put them on top of the trailer, which would be a real booger. Seen really a good setup on the side. I've seen some people do like ladders and stuff, and I'm sure there's a way if you built it. But it was always hard because if you go with a smaller trailer, that's great. The trailer work good for like doing springs or service or something like that. But you need to haul a door. So like this one, what did I have? It was 9 foot, I think. So, I had a little bit sticking out, and then I just took a ratchet strap and had it going up had a nice point to hook onto. So I just did that, and that worked out good to keep it from being so springy. And I put a dunnage under it. So there's so many ways to skin a cat. I mean, there's really no right or wrong. But yeah, I don't know. The enclosed trailer was a good idea. It might work for you. Evan says, Rich, I should have just told the customer, could have brought my sources over just to get ready, but as Dave said, they might expect me to install it then. Yeah, it's kind of it's a give or take. I've noticed over the years, especially a lot like with like fencing and gates and stuff like that, and I'm sure doors are pretty much right up there. when customers can see product, it's a ticking time bomb. And I'm going to tell you how it is, honestly, right? So I hope no customers, have your customers, but you can snowball customers. You have the product, right? You can tell them, say, hey, it's maybe your schedule changed, maybe the weather's not good, maybe a tree fell on your house, whatever. You can say, hey, it's not in yet. I can let you know. Because some people just don't really get it. Some people are a little bit they just whatever. They're just whatever. You know what I mean? So it's just easier to be sometimes, look, it's not in yet, or hey, I could probably do it next week, even though you have it. Sometimes you got to do a little finagling. You know what I mean? Because and when stuff's sitting there, especially I've had it with big jobs and stuff. So we've product because we know the schedule's not going to work, and they're hot for it. You know what I mean? And it's like if we drop that product off every day, it's going to be a phone call. So when you coming? It's just sitting here. We need this. Come on now. Where it's like if it's not out of sight, right? It's like saying, right? Out of sight, out of mind. And so but I don't think you can go wrong either. Like I said, if you wanted to bring it inside, you could probably. They just have to understand that's all the stuff that's that prep work that they understand that you're a small company. You're just starting out. You got a day job. Like they got to know your whole story between life. You know what I mean? Then you got more leadway. You know what I mean? But when you're trying to build and you really don't want to have to explain yourself 10 times. There's things that you have to do that kind of just makes things a little easier. Like it's just not in yet. I plan on getting it done next week for you, and maybe you're ready for the product. See, I don't like stuff sitting. Just like with doors, I don't like doors sitting because that's sitting and that's time sitting, and that time, because now let's just example. This is you, Evan. Evan goes and installs it, right? And now it's not right. The customer's upset now. They're already been 4 days, a week, whatever it is, been waiting. And now you find a problem, which typically you can get through it. But now you gotta call it in and reorder this product where, for them, just don't like, I have some family members that are like this. I've noticed, like, they don't, things not working, right? So like, and I get it, right? Like when your electricity goes out, you're not real happy. You want electricity now. You know what I mean? You're not like, 2 weeks is fine. You want to wait for me electricity? No, I want electricity now. A tree falls in your house. I want this fixed now. You know what I mean? My roof's leaking. I need this fixed now. Some people have that mindset where they just, I need this fixed and I need it now. Broken spring. So, like I said, when stuff's sitting there, it can get under people's skin sometimes. But that's why you gotta kind of figure out customers work and what don't, what you can get away with and what you can do, and it's a learning curve. It's a learning curve. I've that's why I'm in the U-Haul. Yeah, because I could have dropped it off, right? I could probably took over the truck, got my material, went and got my tools. That'd be a lot of running around. When you're done, toss the keys and say, "Have a good day." Exactly. I don't have to wipe down the dash. I don't have to air up tires. I'm free. I'm free, man. There is something to be said. What do they say? Less is more. Less is more. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. That's kind of the world we're living in. Man, increase. We got electricity is going up again. I see. Oh, Evan, there's just hitting us hard, man. Those Canadians. Oh, is it Josie? What's up? How many customers do you average per day? Oh man, that's hard. Me, like 0. You know what I mean? But the business in a whole, it can range anywhere from 6 to 12, you know what I mean? Depending on the guys, how many service calls are coming in, what everything, everything has a huge time factor. You never know how long stuff's going to take, like today, I didn't know what today was going to take, but I blocked the whole day off. I thought, it'll probably be about a 3/4 day. No, it was a pretty full day. You know what I mean? And that's where you got to find your, give and take. Could I have taken shortcuts? Absolutely. Could I have done it faster? Absolutely. But I just in that state in my life now where I don't like taking shortcuts. I like doing it exactly how if it was my plate and making it right and making it solid. And I don't want callbacks because callbacks cost a lot. And if somebody else has got to go back, look at my work and go, man, this guy did a nice job. He took extra time to do this and do that. I mean, even as something as simple as like Caleb says, he goes, he was an angle, and he goes, it's an inch longer than what it's supposed to be. Should I just fly with it? And I'm like, nah. I'm like, cut off. Let's just. We're here. How many years is this thing going to be here that somebody might look at or something? You know what I mean? Like I just look at things now and I go, let's just do it right, at least the best as we can. You know what I mean? And I think my uncle always used to say something. I'll have to ask him. He always said we're shooting for expert, but is good or something like that. Like I forget some saying like that. Josie 1 2 maybe says 4. I have nothing on the schedule for tomorrow. I usually get a call or two. We'll see. Yeah, they'll pop in. They'll pop in. You'll get those people broken springs. Maybe it'll just be hunkered down. It sounds like you're getting some weather too, Tony. I think Rich B's getting some weather. Rich, you had a couple shingles, man. I was able to get a couple pictures out of the shingles tore up. Evans, what's Evan got here? He says, just looking at a U-Haul here. He says, if I'm reading it correctly, I can rent a 10 moving truck, $19.95 plus tax, and 99 cents per kilometer. Yeah, they're gonna get you though. They're gonna get you a little bit. Like I said, you probably insurance. Like I didn't realize. So this is kind of good learning too. The smaller vehicles. So this might be food for thought. The smaller vehicles, I guess they said the banks own, but the bigger ones, because it's something about the insurance. He goes, you might want it. He says, because if you put a dent or something, he goes, they're gonna go after you about it. He says, and I was like, well, why is that? And he said, well, because the small vehicles are bank owned. He says, so they're gonna go after you. He says, the big trucks, we own them. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, you never know. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, fine. Like, let's do it. It's $15. I was like, per day. So it might add up to a little bit more. They normally ask you to what you're going to put on for mileage. I always normally try to do a little prorate you back, whatever you don't use. And they've been pretty flexible for the most part. I'm not saying it's always going to be, but like I've had it where I took the big truck and I needed it for a couple more days, and they were generous enough to accommodate. So I've been really, they're just quick and easy. That's what's great about it. Versus like I have used Enterprise, and you got to go in and they got to inspect the car. If you're doing like a vehicle from them, I don't know if they really do. They don't really do like work via like U-Haul like really doesn't really pick like we never walked around this van. They never call me, hey, you blah blah blah. Like they just not that way. It's like they just got so much money flowing in over the whole country or whatever it is. They just don't whatever. They treat me good. Josie says, do you mean how many people call the office per day for prices or set an appointment or how many schedule per day? Oh, how many do you per day? Tony's got in there. Mr. Tanner, what's up? Nice, easy day. Sounds like Tony. Oh, he says, have a great week so far. Had a guy text Sunday night at 9 p.m. to tell me he's having family troubles. Ooh, and is going back to California. Underspend and says my other where's the guy has strep throat, so we're down to 3. Oh man, been there, done that. I know how that goes. What's up, Tanner? Yeah, it's a bummer, man. Sorry to hear that. It's thanks for. I'm glad Tanner. I'm glad Tanner shares that kind of stuff because I know exactly how that feels. You know what I mean? It's really this is on my this is me personally. You know what I mean? But I've been there, and that's why it's really tough because I ran into this spot one time. I remember in the business where it's like even now. I could, I don't want to say I could 10x it, but I could at least 3 to 5x it. And it's super tough. It's easy to sell and we have a market for it, but it's bringing on more in then hoping and praying that everybody shows up and they're running and it's a lot. It's a lot. So, and all it takes is, one guy to 2 or 3 guys to be obsolete. It's like you're working 7 days a week, and 14, 16 hours a day. Yeah, Yeah, because you've made commitments, you shook people's hands and said, "We'll get this done. We'll get this done." Yes, no, and you're just so many different hats are going on, and that's what's nice about being that's why in a shell being a worker is nice. You can just kind of depart. Not saying it's right or wrong, but you depart. But when you're a entrepreneur, business owner, it normally doesn't work that way. So there's so many things behind the scene that people never will probably ever understand, that when they sit there, like I will never, I probably will say it by accident, but I'll never get somebody again and go, "Oh, that must be nice. Must be nice to have a nice big truck. Must be nice to have that nice house. Must be nice to have that. Must be nice to have a boat, blah, blah." No, no, because there is a sacrifice. And it took a hell to get whatever. But I'm going to be the one that go, "Can I ride? can, can we go? Can we go burn some rubber? Let's go burn some rubber." You know what I mean? No, it's a lot of work. Do, 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 do. Damn, he says, "That sucks, Tanner." Absolutely. He says, "My guys," but he says, "Did 2 doors there, 3 hours in and out, moved and haul." Now the question, though, it just made me think. Just something to think about. Now, how to consider this is just for Tony. You might want to check, right? Just might want to check. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just telling you my personal experience, what happened before. I had an older guy, twice my age, it seemed like. He was getting doors. I'm like, "Dude, getting doors done so fast." For one, he wasn't changing their seal. For two, he had occasionally wouldn't change the track. I forget what the third was. I feel like there was a third. But I'd go back, like he had a couple that were whoop whoop, whatever you call jobs. And for one, he was installing these doors, the Wayne Dalton 9,000 series doors. For whatever reason, he just flat out told the customer, he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna have to probably get different sections. We can't get them. They can't sit down." And normally you have to drive the screws in those 9,000 series doors to squeeze them together. And I'm like, why would he even tell the customer that? Like let them find that, or something. So I go back and the lady's there and she's in distraught, she's like, "I don't know." She's like, "The guy just told me, like, I'm probably going to need a whole brand new." And I'm just like, "I don't know about that. Let me look at it. Maybe I can make a few adjustments." And I did make it somewhat better, but now, but then I'm like there and I'm like, the god darn weather seal isn't changed. And I'm like, where the hell is he taking the weather seal? So I went back and I'm like, "Dude," I'm like, "You got to change the weather seal." And then, I had another job. I think it might have even been another installer. I'm like, that's the not changed. And it's like, "Dude, you got new track, put the new track up." Yeah, no, and it really ticked me off because I'd get these guys that and that was always why, when you pay guys hourly, there is no freaking excuse to do shoddy work. You're getting paid. And I don't overwhelm the guys. I never been a guy that's like, "You got to get 3 doors done today." No. I know situations come up. I know sometimes you have to take a crap. And I know sometimes you got to take a pee break. And I know days you don't feel good. So, but the one thing you better get through your thick skull is that you better do a damn good job. You know what I mean? Like there's no reason for that. It's a subcontractor. I get it. Maybe they're taking some shortcuts, whatever. They're getting paid per piece work, per job. I can understand that. But when it comes to the employees, you're getting paid. I normally wouldn't even schedule nothing. I would literally, if they end up getting time, we'd make filler. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's my 2 cents. "Oh, it's fine. Didn't have much invested," he says. "To the guy, they will come and go." Josie, he says, "I'm on the coast of South Alabama, and we average 4 calls per day. Inflation has really put a dent in sales. Customers are opting to put a Band-Aid on problems and limp along until next issue." Oh man, see, I'm glad that. I really am. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that is kind of what's going on out there. I mean, so I'm glad we're the only ones that feel that, because that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing it in the car market. I'm seeing it in our mechanics locally. That's what I'm feeling. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of like, man, things not, inflation, man. Like I said, you try to go out to eat, especially if you got a family. It's expensive out there. Nice love days like that. He says we did 3 Lawyer Springs T50 today. Oh, the dirt floors it sucked, but I loved it. He says when you set the tracks perfect the first time. Absolutely, I agree with that. So you don't must have jumped on here. Ta-da. Josie, give me 2 to 3 prices about repairing or replacing different parts of the systems. Josie, I get that a lot. He says, I have about 27 other garage door companies competing against, so I do a lot of shit. Although this week we put in 3 doors so far. 1 more on the books, he says, but after that, nothing. I seen there was a couple resis still, I think, at the shop. Like I said, it's not the resis seem like they're really holding on right now. I'm located Northeast Indiana. Rusty. Josie, what about more money towards advertising on Google? You can set a budget a month for keywords, searches in your area. Seen one of the little guys today. Had about 5 big box door openers on the back. Dang. Of his truck. Looked like he just stopped at Lowe's, picked them up. Dave. You know what's funny is actually we got that job today, and I didn't know the condition. I didn't know the condition of Caleb, so I was like, dude, I'm stopping at the gas station. I was like, I gotta pee, and so I'm like, so we get there, and I was like, you want to come in? I was like, we'll get something, a little snack or something. He's like, no, I'm good. He's like, I still got leftover sandwich, for lunch. All right, cool. I'm walking over to into the gas station, and you know how when you're just kind of glancing, you're just looking around. I seen track, and I'm like, I kind of did like this second God damn, that's got a door track. I thought, am I looking at the back of my van or something? What's going on? And then I was like, oh, hell. I'm like, no, that's like a minivan. I'm like, that's a minivan with track on the top. It looked like maybe a strut. I didn't see any door stuff, but there was a strut and a track on top. And I'm like, kind of like looking. There's nothing on the vehicle. It's just a black van, some kind of black rims, maybe like a Dodge Caravan or something. And I'm just like, what the hell? Do you guys do that? Yeah, I would like that. You get that like you puff your feathers. Who the hell? And I'm like, I'm like, I'm like sitting there kind of laughing, like, who am I to judge? I'm like, I'm working out of a U-Haul truck. And so I'm just kind of like, I'm like, carry on, brother. And, but I was wondering, I was like, who's that? And so I just thought, God dang, I was like, we're getting more trunk slammers than you can shake a stick at. And I just thought, but hey, that's probably the economy we're going to be heading into here with the way things are. People looking for affordability, and can't blame them. You know what I mean? Yeah, just is what it is. I think even Caleb got a couple phones today. He's got so I mean, and he really don't got much for advertising or anything going on. So that's kudos. Tony, is that one of the guys you're competing against? Tony says yes. Tony said, little guys, he says, one man show. Tony's yes. What does it say? Most of the cheaper competitors, small companies, or big corporations. He says, I don't know. He's cheaper. I know he's selling a cheaper opener than I do. Absolutely. The box store. Evan, get an old school bus. There you go. And could be mobile shop during oh yeah, door and storage billboard. Heck yeah, man, that'd be cool. I always wanted a bus. I wanted those doors, with the lever. I just could you imagine pulling up, throwing that door open here, coming down the steps. Get the short one. Get the mall school bus. Get the short one. What is the most expensive company in Fort Wayne? Tony says, hey, says Rich B. Says, I like that idea. Just think of it. It could be your personal. You can stay there. You can live in it. I mean, dude, you're gonna be living high on the hog. You just got to get a little chunk of land, dude. That's cheap living, baby. Also, put a bed in. Yeah. See, Tony's thinking that's right, man. Put a bed in there. You can take a nap. You can sleep, live in it. That'd be sweet. Tony's garage is a bed. Not bad. Oh, I see. I already said. I knew what you were saying. Where does it say? I get it. Not bad. Evan says, maybe rich. I'm trying to avoid as much business debt as possible. What do you got? Something. Maybe rich. He says, I'm trying to also as much business debt as possible. So any money I'm making is going into the business, like tools, trucks. He says, maybe I get the trailers back in business really catches. Yeah, I mean, like me personally, like if I was starting out as a young man, I was trying to tell Caleb, thank you. I see we got 11 likes too. Thank you guys. Um, I would all day do a Sprinter, whatever, Chevy. This would be what I would buy. You know what I mean? Brand new. You know what I mean? If I was gonna be really committed, but this is perfect. This is not for having kids and stuff like that. But like me, when I had the truck, I use the truck for so many different things, and that's good in a sense, right? Because if you're keeping it busy, it's making you money. That's great. And if you can use it for a little bit of personal, you're going to whatever, going to the hardware store. I mean, these things work great, and the stuff is all secured. You know, what I mean, you can lock it with a push of a button. Um, you can't really do that with a truck. You can't lock the toppers and all that stuff automatically. I mean, Cap's cutaway van works out really good. Um, his is actually locked. His can lock with them, but out all day. I mean, it'd be cool though if they could get, or they got a bench seat back here. I always thought that'd be a little bit nice, just in case if you, I don't know, probably because I have kids, but why not, man? Like I said, if you're desperate and you're serious and you want to get out of a shop or whatever you're doing in life, hell yeah, dude. I'd be carrying this puppy up. I'd be wearing like Papa Tony. I'd be wearing a shirt everywhere I go. If you're hungry, I mean, this is a great billboard. It looks clean. It's professional, and your stuff can all stay in here secure, dry. Maybe you got to let it heat up a little bit because the batteries are getting cold. That's great. All this heat trickles in through the day as you're driving around doing stuff. But hell yeah, this is what I'd be spending my money on. You know what I mean? I'd be living this thing. This thing be making me so much baby money. Do 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 do. Evan says, and I need. It says up, and I need a van. Sorry, I think it's got Tanner. Got a Duramax van. Calling your name. Just had a Doris position come up. He says, "Come help make America great." That's good. That's awesome. That's funny. Love it. Hey, before you leave, don't forget hit the like button. There you go. Love it. Tony says all of that. Good one, Tanner. Yeah. Oh, we're dying here. All right, what do we got? See if I can catch up some of these. We'll go about 10:45 or so. My battery's getting closer to death, and I'm ready to clean myself. We should put order in the spring and summer clothes. Ooh, and making garage doors great again. Oh no way! That's cool. That's a great idea. That's great. That's awesome. I love it. That's awesome. Get more coming tomorrow. Sunday we had 81 plus. Wow. It's really weird. Over by the shop, there's a school that's probably about a mile away ish. And it's this roof. So weird. We had like inline winds that tore the roof off the place. Um, and I think at the shop there was nothing. There was like nothing that happened on the anything. Wind took out a lot of trees, roof shingles. Some people still power. Dang. Tony's got Rusty Dave, you pay yourself as an employee or installs or just part of your own pay? We do an S corp, so I'm an employee. I can get paid, or you can do the draws or stuff like that, or you get the rent. You do rent, like the building and stuff. Tony, I won't ever have him install by himself. He's too old. Oh, I just have him do opener, spring job, stuff like that on his own. Gotcha. Gotcha. Tony, do you offer a life plan? Multiple. Under the belt, Tanner. Give it to him, Tony. When they want cheap, he says, I don't sell perimeter seal, but I do get tracks, everything else that comes with the door. Yeah. Says, oh, I don't know. Definitely a very hard worker. That's good. That's good. It's hard to find hard workers nowadays. Tony says yesterday sent them out to a job he had never pulled out before or put an opener in a big box store. Operated together. He put it all trolley on the backwards. That happens. Was the only thing he had for out. That's nothing. That's easy, man. That's cool. And I'm sure he picked up. He won't do it again. And he was ready to go. Nice. Peter, what's up? I'm back. Son of a biscuit. I'll be darned. Hey, Peter, we got Ever After. What's up? We got a conversion and opener to install in the morning. Awesome. That's great. Good for you. Thanks, Brent. Evan's got a spring conversion. My favorite thing. Oh, you like those. Like to make the money. What's up, cousin Evan? It's been a while since I caught it live. Tanner says, I could never buy short bus. Spent too much time. That's a good one, Tanner. That is a good one. Tony Scratch, he says, Rusty missed Mr. Question about most expensive in Fort Wayne. That would be pushing. They hose whoever they can. They hose whoever they can. They get the money. Tony sounds like that 1 hour from here. Yeah, it sounds like Precision is pretty harsh. How much was it to rent one of those vans? This was $120 for 2. I was explaining it earlier. $120. They got me on the insurance, so it was a little more than I expected, but I'm happy with it. Got to try out the Ford Transit. Don't know if I'm a big fan. All the rollers in my county and moved on in the country. Rusty Scott. He says, yeah, Rusty, they're working on it here. He says, I have 3 customers last week that complained about them. What are the complaints? Salmon, it says, how do you find salespeople? I'm looking for multiple in Michigan, actually. Hope and pray. That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. It's hard to find good salespeople. And then you gotta find like I always thought, like, for me, it's like if I ever do anything sales, like if I'm really into sales, I just want to be commission. I just want to be commission only. I don't want no base. I just want to. I want a good commission pay, and you just pay me. I'm gonna. And that way it makes me hustle. Those are my sales. You know what I mean? They don't be about it. I want it to be fair, and I don't want you to bother me. I'll do my thing. I signed up ground man from some power line. When they need extra guys for storm work. Oh, my phone's been going crazy. I bet. I took in so I look in the mirror. Rusty's got. I look in the mirror every morning. Sales captain. Evan's got. Nice. Tanner, nice thing about here is our small enough big corporate companies can't make it here. They do travel here, but not often. Pop company also stuck. Just another company. Yeah, I mean, plus they're not doing. I don't think Precision does. I wonder what Precision's cap is on doors. They're not doing monster like that stuff. The bigger ones in the area is. Let's give him a call. Yeah, give me. I don't know about me. See if I got enough irons in the fire. Hear that, Simon? Let's see. Just pay him commission and leave him alone. I'm out, right? We're in Michigan. Sounds like my area too. Tanner, he's got except all of our small city ones have one company. There used to be more 20 years ago, but it has been survival of the fittest. Huh. Not 100%, but I believe precision is residential only. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, Papa Tony. I bet you're right. I thought it was pretty cool because Tony was telling me quite a while back about I think it was like a little minivan or a little like Ford Trans or something. He was saying how they had this like opener that was like a demonstration that came out. I think it was for like one of his neighbors or something. They don't see eye to eye, but he was saying like this little demonstration, and I was just like, oh, I was like, how cute is that? That's so cute. Like, you know, and I can't remember if that guy was an installer though. I thought, how's that guy installing out of a little van like that? But maybe he came back or something. I don't know the whole story of it, but I just, thought you have a little opener, a little button push, and you can show him, see the opener, and it's got this and it does that. It's so cute. I've only seen marketing from, it says towards residential. Probably. I mean, it's probably like, I don't even know if A1. Now I think of it, is that A1 company, the one that's the franchise? I don't think A1 does commercial. Maybe we got to stick with the big boy stuff. Towards residential. After says, does anybody in here know about the Pro Max? Is it Performance Max openers? I think I just worked on one a couple days back. I don't know. I thought I had the screws on it. It reminded me of like an old school LiftMaster, but I don't think it's as good as quality. They had a salesman come in first in a little minivan with all the gadgets. Okay, and then 2 trucks came 3 weeks later to install the door. Gotcha. So that was a salesperson. Gotcha. Makes sense. That makes sense. Brad says we don't got those up in Canada. Just stick to Chamberlain products. Yeah, I'd say there's, it depends on what you're. Residential only. That would not be considered a door company. My neck of the woods. Heck no, not with the stuff you're hauling around, hanging. They got the screws for it, but forces have strange buttons on the back. Set force today. It must be the same one. I have to look back at the video. It's going to come out eventually someday here. But yeah, I had the screws in this. Kind of cool. I like the old school screws, but I had the same problem. Somebody else installed it. It wasn't my install. I just went there behind somebody, and it was weird. Like, you had to push the force thing like twice to increase it or something. And then I found out the guy was saying, I called tech support right away. Tech support was actually pretty good. I was really surprised. I had a guy that speak English. He was really down to earth. I thought I was going to have a whole kit and caboodle. Like, you don't know who you're messing with. I'm Uncle Dave with Affordable Door, and you don't talk to me like that. But he was really cool. I just told him, I'm like, dude, I got experience. I'm like, this is where I'm at. And he's like, okay. He's like, do this. So he walked me right through it. And then he was like, is the wall button changed? And I'm like, no, they used the old button. And he's like, you still might want to change that. And he said, and I was like, is it kind of like the newer stuff? And he goes, kind of. He said, but you should probably change that. I said, well, it's not here. I didn't install. I said, but I'll recommend it to the customer. And but we pushed the buttons a couple more times. Boom, things started running. I'm like, sweet, because it was I think it was just like but it wouldn't blink or anything or click. So I was like, what is this thing doing? But it was a force set. I think it was just on a downstroke, and I thought that's weird. We didn't have the door hooked up to it because I was just basically trying to get the thing to move. Tinder says, joking, they are trash. What, did I miss something? The best opener on the market. Aren't they the cheap Menards ones? I think so. It's Menards opener. I think they got rid of them and started pushing the Max Force brand openers. Yeah, I think Menards really good about. I think they give it 3, maybe even less, 3 on product, and then they change. So that way they don't have to warranty it, or you know what I mean, when that stuff starts coming back. And think about that from a sales part or from a business aspect, right? The board with all the Menards that they have, that they just get rid of that product. That saves people inside, the people that work there, the employees. Think of how much that saves them. From like people coming in going, I bought this Max Force from you, and it's a pile of junk. Didn't even last 3 years. And the guy behind the counter goes, whoa. We don't even carry that anymore. I agree with you. That was a piece of crap. But that's why we don't sell anymore. But guess what? Now we have whatever. Proformance, ProMat. We have Guardian. We have, what was the one? Extreme. We got Extreme now. Yes, you need yourself an Extreme garage door opener. Your life will be saved. Your life will be, it'll never be the same again. And they're like, well, I drove all the way here 2 hours away, and you guys do have the best deals, and I need an opener, so how much is it? It's $199. Okay, I guess I'll buy it. And they'll come back in another 3 years. This thing didn't last. Oh, that was junk too. We don't sell that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what they do. All right, what do we got here? Cheap Menards, openers. We get rid of them. Started pushing. So, Tanner, we barely consider a business, and you're in the woods. You would be nothing. Now, not doing those big doors. Rusty says, me too, Evan. But tomorrow, I'm going 30 feet in the air. Oof. Architectural boom lift to change one horsepower LiftMaster. That's gonna be gnarly. I want some pictures, Rusty. Better get some pictures. Better have a harness. Yeah, I guess a little bouncy. Or just agriculture. He says they can't do their garage doors, shop doors. They won't go with you. He says they won't jump around for companies. Says only do one or others not saying guys can't. Rich says LOL. Now, what did I miss something from Rich? Rich. Oh yeah, better have this. Heck yeah. What's the guy here? So, looking for 1-2 reps in Michigan, anywhere from West Michigan to Grand Rapids. Listen, Ann Arbor, across South Michigan. We sell sunset awnings, screens, and shades. Trim, seal, home improvements. That's right. Oh, sweet. Rusty's got. Sure thing, Dave. Man, that's cool to see that stuff, that high up stuff. See that big old 1 horsepower, how she's been doing over the years. Don't let Osh see it. That's right. Out of sight, out of mind. Tried typing my email, but can't. Really? Huh. Straight commission and high closing tickets. If anyone is interested. That's weird. I just can't put your email in. It's weird. Rich, I usually remind them to turn 3-phase rail for the crane off. Oh, yeah. Thanks for letting me share. Definitely will share your channel. Awesome. Appreciate it. No problem. Hopefully you have a good luck finding some workers or some salespeople. It's going to be, it's tough. They're out there. Just got to pay them $1.2 million a month. So we just took those sunsetters and roll-up screen, roll-up doors, dabbling in, starting in another business in home products. Ooh, did Doge get OSHA yet? That's a good one. I like that. Not yet. It's probably coming. Shocking, Rusty. Don't mess with the DC. What is DC? Are you saying those rails are DC? Those 3-phase rails for those cranes? Those things aren't are they DC? Dude, that's scary if those are DC. I thought they were AC. That stuff will screw you up. Rich has got yes. Damn. I didn't know those were DC. Holy crap. That's really good to know. Yeah, I don't want to go that. That don't let go. Whew. Makes me shiver. Makes me think about those. You guys all see those Chinese people, those 3 workers or whatever. I don't know, but they're pushing that crane. Boom. They hit that thing, man. They just went down. They were zapped. Oh, that's horrible. I wouldn't want that for anybody. Oh, I got, screens. We're locking up. I got a question. Do you think Trump will get a 3rd term? Ooh, boy, I don't know. I'm going to say no. That's my opinion. I mean, it just seems like everything, there's always impeachment. That never happens. There's jail time. That never happens. Certain class of people, it seems like. So I'm going to guess no. That's just too ingrained. It's not going to happen. there'll be a huge pro. Am I saying I don't want it to? I'm not. I'm not saying that. That's my. I just don't. I don't know. But he is moving. He is moving a lot of stuff. If anything, he is shaking that glass globe with the snowflakes in it. He's definitely violently shaking it like an angry little kid. How much is commission? Let's see. Tanner, I got it. Yes, Tony. He's trolling. Peter, he says, I thought you changed it after FDR. He says, and you can only get 2 terms now. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the normal, but we'll see, man. I don't know. It's going to all shake out. Like I said, right now, I've been just kind of numb to it a little bit. I get some stuff from you guys, which is great. Keep sending it. I'm not discouraging it. I just don't really, it comes across, of course, everywhere through the Facebook and stuff and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just not getting excited about it. I'm kind of burned out of it. Like we've had the cough syndrome, the COVID. Like somebody was saying, like the chickens are the new paper of 2025. I'm kind of over it. And then the part of it is too, is that I think as inflation, a lot of people to some degree, like they can't afford it. You know what I mean? Like it's just, so we're kind of like in that, what is it called? Stagflation. That's what I feel like we're kind of in, stagflation. You know what I mean? Like it's just, stuff really isn't moving in high volume. It's just kind of, it ain't gangbuster. It's like for us, it's just things are trickling along. There's stuff that's still got to get done. There's still maintenance. There's stuff that needs to be fixed. But it's just, there is probably a catalyst there that could break the camel's back. I don't think it'll happen, but I guess time will. But I know spring does not feel like spring for the normal rush. I'm not seeing it across a lot of businesses. I'm not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it. So I know for myself, you know what I mean? I don't feel like I'm flush, like I'm just like, oh my gosh, man, I'm rolling in cash. I'm going to go, I got so much money to dump just to go buy 2 new trucks and stuff. I look at everything and I just go, I'm normally not a type to go, dang. I go, how much? But I am getting a lot of shell shock from rest and stuff in general. Like you buy, how much? Holy crap, that's gone up. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if it's hitting me, I'm sure it's hitting a lot of other people a lot harder, especially, I'm sure hey, we'll turn the light off. Told you to stop that. His first term, he says, could be argued it was not counted from all the pushback. Impeachments could have got anything done. I know. That's the one thing I worry about is I think about I got this cat. It's ticking me off. I think about that where I go, that's kind of a problem. You know what I mean? Where there's a lot of things forced, you know what I mean? Like nobody wants to play nice. The parties are all, against each other. It's sad, that nobody looks for you and me to say, this doesn't make sense. This is common sense. Let's do this. But it's because they're all making money off stuff. You know what I mean? Easy to worry about dicks. You need to Rusty for parents say. Chance to win and step down. I don't know. Let's see if I can get this kitty. Better get your hiney down off my van. That's what I'm telling you. Get down for a ball. I don't like it feels. I know it's not even mine. Get down. Craphead. Don't care if it's not mine or it is mine. I don't want you on my vehicle. Yeah, you. All right, let's see what we got here. Vanceville, you got it. No. Go, Tony. What do you guys do about health insurance? For myself, we found it's cheaper just to pay out of pocket. everything is double or triple when we do insurance. So we only have stuff for like catastrophic where it's like I cut a leg off for $5,000, and it's just cheaper. We do all our health care, we do our teeth, everything. It's just cheaper. It's like $75 to get dental cleaning for us per person. It's just we get everything written in estimates. We have stuff done. You want kids, have home birth. It's a lot cheaper. They're like ninjas. Get down, kitty. What's about? Let's see here. Tony's got thumbs up on there. I'll be darned. Stay healthy. That does help. Peter, my wife covers it. Yep. If you got a spouse, that helps a lot. Peter said, pay for your own. Never use it. He says, cry at the end of the year when you see how much I paid. Yeah, it's just, everything's getting too crazy, that stuff, honestly. What's to say? Never something. Need to make sure Tony gets his Social Security. He says, hope slappy. I give you. He says, deserve it. Tanner cool. Make lots of happy customers. Rusty varies on sales, but full seasons 120, 200. Dang, man. Damn right, Tanner. Percentage of eat sales. That's on sale. And Tanner says I varies. Says in prices you sell it for whatever from 6 to 15. Gotcha. Nice. Can't write off your health insurance as a business expense. Can't you write? I don't. It costs so much, it's just gone. You know what I mean? It's just gone. Are you? Ads are up on ZipRecruiter. Oh, nice. I'm trying to pay myself for all the jobs I do. It says I'm trying to pay myself for all the jobs I do within our company. No problem. Parenting with Costco 2 this year. Ooh, man, Costco, you do good. That's good times. That'll be good. McGriddles. McGriddles are awesome. Yeah, they're not too bad. Probably not good for you, but they're tasty, that's for sure. All right, you guys, I got to head out. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you for being here. Hope you have a good rest of the day. Stay safe out there. The weather is coming, so batten down the hatches, all that good stuff. We'll see you on the next one. Make sure you keep your fingers. Take care. Stay healthy. All that good stuff. And we over and out. Send me those pictures. It gives me enough. Nice. See you later. Take care, Tanner. You be nice. You and Tony, duke it out. See ya.